So you've seen the unearthing of the Golden Acorn in its silver orb.
Wow.
Now our work begins by unravelling the 4 Quercus Circus films one by one.
Without moving your head, try just looking down, and then look straight ahead at your own eye. Can you see your eye now?
I'm sure I've annoyed some people. After all, it's taken me 19 months to produce the solution to my treasure hunt. It's been complicated, because there was always supposed to have been 5 treasure hunts, all of which were kind of entwined and interlinked. So before I could make this film, I had a big tangle of clues to unmuddle, to ensure I didn't fence myself in and reveal any of the clues to the second Quercus Circus instalment. Originally, I never intended to publish any of the solves until all 5 acorns had been found. But that was then, and this is now, 12 years on. So there will be a few holes in the solution, I'm afraid, but I've done my best not to spoil things too much. The folktale. I didn't give any clues to the location of the Lonely Hill in any of the films. Of course, the Lonely Hill exists, and once you'd worked out all or part of Rufus's journey, I'd hoped that the location would be easily spotted, but it never was. That I know of. The Lonely Hill is Silbury Hill, which is located in Wiltshire. Silbury Hill is actually man-made, and originally a rudimentary pyramid made of loose chalk. There are many myths about the hill, one of which is that King Sil was encased in the gold statue of a horse and buried under the hill. Monsieur Underhill. The soundtrack that is playing throughout Monsieur Underhill is called Magic Tree, which I slowed down to 26% of its original speed and reversed. When playing it at the correct speed and direction, you can hear the following.
Turn with me through the Golden Acorn. West is your best if you spawn with unrest on the stony ground.
Turn with me through the Golden Corn, a reference to a crop circle. West is the best, a reference to the best direction for Rufus to travel. When you're spun with unrest, a reference to a spinning record. On the stony ground, a reference to Wiltshire with its abundance of standing stones and stone circles. Monsieur Underhill is an undertaker, and like the soundtrack, he goes about his undertaking in a reversed way. Rather than burying the dead, he digs them up. He has dug up 5 vinyl albums, which are wrapped in an old shroud. Pay attention as he points to the moon, as it reveals a set of coordinates. Take note of the circles that are projected out from the moon and the overhead power lines they traverse, because this is part of the circle and line theme. Also, make note of the grid the coordinates appear in. This is actually a gate, which we will come across later on. Notice the number 27 that is burnt into the shroud as the undertaker begins to reveal the contents. The newspaper headline you see at the beginning of the film is constructed from 4 song titles, each of which are the 5th tracks on 4 of the albums.
Point that, yeah, that means to look. You like that?
I like looking. Oh, I get you.
And what was the fox one again? Yeah, that's cool. What was the other one? Record. What was the other one we did? Was there another one? Just 5, yeah.
The artists from 4 of the albums died when they were 27. Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix, which is why the number 27 is on the shroud, leaving the 5th album, John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band, as the odd one out, because John Lennon died when he was 40. Each of the hand-drawn album covers you see in the film feature a number which Underhill reveals in the following order: 5, 4, 2, 1, 5. The 5th track on the Lennon album is called Isolation. If you apply the 5 numbers to the word isolation, you get A, L, S, I, A. We'll come back to these letters later in Rufus's journey. The coordinates point to the location the album cover photograph was taken back in 1970. This was just a little rabbit hole I wanted to include. On the album cover, John and Yoko are sitting against an oak tree located in the grounds of Tittenhurst Park, which they owned in the early 70s. During this period, they once sent acorns to world leaders in an attempt to promote peace. I thought this was quite poignant and a worthwhile detour by linking it to the story. Underhill takes off his hat and places it over the John Lennon album, just to confirm that the hidden clues were there. Note the oak leaves in the hat. Oh yes, and the cider. Well, that was just a vague hint for the next location. Cider country. Going back to the footage of the wind turbines in the cornfield, with a spinning pattern to the left of the screen and the descending lights, they were all indicators of Rufus's location. Windmill Hill, famous for its crop circles and UFO sightings. If you searched crop circle, UFO and UK together in Google 11 years ago, the only result would have been Windmill Hill.